let's be real for a second. In India, it feels like everyone's always asking, when are you buying a house?
Oh, yeah.
It's like this big milestone, right?
That is a huge cultural thing.
Like you haven't really made it until you've got a mortgage and a place of your own.
Totally.
Well, today we're diving deep into this whole rent versus buy debate.
Okay.
And to guide our deep dive, we've got this super insightful FinShots article.
Oh, cool.
And they present it as like you're having this conversation
Okay.
with like a very interested relative about should you buy a house?
I like that.
Yeah.
Makes it relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So full disclosure, the article kind of leans towards the renting side of things.
it does.
So to make sure we're covering all our bases,
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to be team home ownership today.
Oh.
You up for the challenge?
I think I can handle that.
Okay.
Play devil's advocate a bit.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So to help us visualize these different approaches, the FinShots article introduces us to Maya and Tara.
Okay.
These are two fictional characters living in Bangalore.
Makes sense.
And they're both looking for a similar two-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
But that's about where the similarities end.
Gotcha.
So Maya decides to take the plunge into home ownership.
Right.
She buys an apartment for 1 crore.
Wow, a crore.
I know, right?
That's a big purchase.
Yeah.
Huge.
For this, she puts down a 20 lakh down payment,
Okay.
which that's like the upfront money
Right.
you pay towards the property.
Yeah.
And then she takes out a loan for the remaining amount.
So a mortgage.
A mortgage, exactly.
Okay.
And she's doing this for 20 years.
Okay.
Now, since interest rates can fluctuate, they go up, they go down,
Yeah.
she goes with what's called a floating interest rate,
Makes sense.
which right now is at 8%.
Okay.
So all of this translates into a monthly payment,
Yeah.
what we call an EMI of about 67,000 par.
Wow. So 67,000 every single month.
Every month.
That's a serious commitment.
Yeah, it's not a small amount.
No.
Now, Tara, on the other hand, she goes the rental route. She finds a comparable apartment in the same area,
Okay.
but for 30,000 euros a month.
Wow.
So she's saving quite a bit there.
Big difference.
Yeah, and instead of putting that extra money into a mortgage, she decides to invest it.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, the FinShots article, they do some interesting number crunching here
Okay.
to compare like how these two financial paths would play out
Okay.
over those 20 years.
Okay.
So to do this, they make some assumptions, right? Like trying to predict the future is impossible.
Yeah, you can't know for sure.
But you got to make some educated guesses to make the comparison.
Right?
So for Maya, they assume her property is going to appreciate at a steady 6% per year,
Okay. 6%.
which is pretty much in line with long-term trends
Yeah.
in the Indian real estate market.
Okay. Sounds reasonable.
So Maya is basically banking on her property increasing in value over time.
Yeah. Steadily going up.
Now for Tara, who's renting,
Yeah.
they have to factor in rent increases,
Of course, because rent doesn't just stay the same forever.
right? Nobody wants to think about that.
No.
But it's a reality.
Yeah.
So they assume her rent goes up by 5% each year,
5%.
which is pretty realistic.
It is. Yeah.
And then to round it all out,
Yeah.
they project Tara's investments earning a solid 12% return
12%
annual.
annually. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like the average historical return
Yeah.
of the stock market.
Yeah, historically, but no guarantees, obviously.
Of course not.
Right.
So based on all these assumptions, drum roll please,
All right, hit me.
the article concludes that after 20 years, Tara actually comes out ahead.
What? Wait, really?
Yeah, the renter ends up wealthier
I would not have guessed that.
than the homeowner.
Especially in India, you always hear buy a house, buy a house.
It's like ingrained in our culture.
Yeah.
So this really highlights that power of compounding.
Yeah. The magic of compounding, they call it.
Yeah, when it comes to investing.
Yeah, even with the rent increases.
Right.
Tara's money that she's invested is growing significantly over those 2 decades.
But here's the thing I kept thinking about while reading this.
What's that?
Those assumptions, like the 12% return on investment
Right.
and the 6% property appreciation,
Yeah.
aren't those a little optimistic?
Well, yeah, the real world is a lot messier than a spreadsheet.
Exactly.
Like, who knows what's going to happen in 20 years?
Right. We could have like crazy inflation.
Another pandemic.
The real estate market could crash.
You never know.
So how can anyone really make a decision with all this uncertainty?
That's where FinShots, they provide this really helpful tool.
Oh, tell me about it.
They created a spreadsheet where you can plug in different numbers
Okay.
and tweak those assumptions
Like that.
based on your own outlook
Yeah.
and risk tolerance.
So like if you're more bullish on real estate,
Yeah, you think property values are going to skyrocket.
you can adjust that percentage.
You can put in 10%, 15%, whatever you think.
Or if you're more conservative,
Yeah, you're like, I don't know about the stock market.
you can dial back those investment returns.
There's that.
So you can kind of personalize the analysis.
Yeah, see how different scenarios play out.
That's pretty cool.
It is, yeah.
So it's not about blindly following a formula.
No.
It's about understanding the different forces at play
The different fact.
and then making a choice that works best for you.
Exactly. One size does not fit all in this situation.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And this approach actually helps us debunk,
Oh, yeah.
like a classic piece of financial advice
Okay, what is it?
that you always hear,
Yeah.
especially in India,
Yeah.
which is if the rent you pay equals the EMI, you should buy a house.
Okay, that makes sense on the surface.
Right.
Like, why throw money away on rent?
Yeah, why not put it towards your own property?
Yeah, build equity.
But the FinShots article really digs into why that's not always the smartest move.
Oh, okay, interesting. I'm curious to hear this.
So they highlight how focusing just on that rent versus EMI comparison,
Okay.
it misses this crucial point,
What's that?
the potential for a higher quality of life when you rent.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So let's unpack that a bit,
Yeah, what do they mean by higher quality of life?
because it sounds kind of vague.
It does, yeah.
So think about it this way.
Okay.
If Tara was paying $67,000 every month for rent,
Yeah.
she could probably afford a much bigger, nicer apartment
That's true.
than Maya's.
Right. More space.
Yeah. Nicer amenities.
Or maybe she could choose to live in a fancier location.
Oh, yeah. Location, location, location.
Right.
Yeah. Being in a prime spot can make a big difference.
And these factors, like the space, the amenities, the neighborhood,
Right.
they play a huge role in your day-to-day life.
They really do affect your quality of life.
But a simple rent versus EMI calculation can't capture that.
I can't put a number on those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all have different priorities and preferences.
That's true. We're not all looking for the same things.
Right. For some people, having a spacious balcony
Yeah.
to enjoy their morning chai might be more important
Totally.
than having an extra bedroom. Right.
And for others, being within walking distance of their favorite park or market
Yeah.
might be non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
So these are the kinds of things you have to weigh when making this decision.
For sure.
It's not just about the numbers.
No.
It's also about understanding your own values
Yeah.
and what truly matters to you.
What makes you happy
Yeah,
at the end of the day?
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about like the financial nuts and bolts,
Yeah.
but buying a house, it's also a super emotional decision.
Absolutely.
It's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet.
It's
Simone.
not just a financial transaction.
There's this whole other layer.
There is.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think there's a huge sense of pride and accomplishment
Yeah.
that comes with owning your own place.
Yeah, it's like a symbol of you've made it,
It is.
especially in a culture like ours where homeownership is so valued.
Yeah, it's almost like a status symbol.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like you're putting down roots.
Right.
You're building a nest.
Oh.
Building a future.
Creating a space that's truly yours.
Exactly.
And you can customize it like crazy.
Yeah.
Paint the walls whatever color you want.
Terry on walls.
Yeah.
No landlord to answer to.
Exactly.
You have complete freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it's also about that stability
Yeah.
and sense of belonging.
Right.
Renting can feel transient.
Especially if you're moving every couple of years.
Yeah.
You never really feel settled.
Right.
But owning a home that can provide that permanence,
Yeah.
that feeling of being part of a community.
You're investing in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
You're getting to know your neighbors.
Right. You're putting down roots. You're
Yeah.
becoming part of that fabric.
The FinShots article, they do touch on these like non-financial benefits
Okay.
of home ownership.
Good. Because those are important too.
They are.
They're not just talking about money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They even mention the tax benefits
Oh, yeah.
associated with home loans.
Yeah, like the tax deductions and stuff. Right. There are certain deductions you can claim
Yeah.
on the interest you pay on your mortgage.
It can get complicated.
A whole other rabbit hole.
We can do a whole deep dive just on that.
We could.
Yeah.
So probably best to talk to a financial advisor.
Yeah, if you want to really understand those details.
If you want to get into the nitty-gritty,
Yeah.
but beyond the financial and emotional stuff,
Okay.
there's this other interesting layer to this whole debate.
Okay, tell me more.
And the article quotes Morgan Housel,
Oh, yeah, I love Morgan Housel.
who's a well-known financial writer.
That's great.
And he says this,
Okay.
housing isn't a great investment,
Okay, interesting.
but for most people, it's the best investment they'll ever make
Okay. I like where this is going.
because it's the only asset they will leave alone and let compound for 10, 20, 30 years.
That's a good point.
Okay, so that's not the usual housing spiel we always hear.
Right. It's not just buy a house. It's a great investment.
It's a different angle.
Yeah. What's he getting at?
So he's talking about the psychology of investing.
Interesting.
He's suggesting that for a lot of people, the forced savings aspect
Okay.
of a mortgage can actually be a good thing.
So like tricking yourself into saving.
Yeah, because you're forced to make that monthly payment.
Yeah, you have to pay it.
So you're chipping away at the loan.
Right. You're slowly building equity
Building equity in your home without even really thinking about it.
without having to be disciplined about it.
And it plays into human nature.
Yeah, because we're not always great at saving.
Right.
We have the best intentions,
Yeah.
but then life happens.
Yeah, emergencies come up.
The market dips and you panic.
And you're like, oh, I'm just going to spend this money on a vacation.
Right. Or that new gadget.
With a mortgage, you're locked in.
Yeah, you have to pay it
You have to pay it every month.
every single month.
So it's like having a financial safety net built in.
Yeah, you're steadily building equity
Right.
in a tangible asset,
Even if you're not actively managing it.
even if you're not a stock market whiz.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that forced discipline
Yeah.
can lead to serious wealth accumulation
Over the long term.
over the long term.
Especially compared to investments that we might fiddle with or
Yeah.
cash out too early
Right,
when
right.
the market takes a dip.
Well, wouldn't that depend on the person?
Of course.
Some people are great at saving on their own.
Yeah, some people are super disciplined.
They don't need that extra push.
Right.
Well, others like me
Yeah.
need that mortgage payment looming over my head.
To keep you on track.
Yeah.
Exactly. It all comes back to knowing yourself.
Yeah.
Your financial habits, your risk tolerance.
If you're someone who struggles with saving
Yeah.
or gets spooked by market dips.
Easily.
Yeah.
Then that forced savings aspect of homeownership.
Yeah.
That could be a huge advantage.
It's making me think about all the times
Oh, yeah.
I've like impulsively bought things.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
God, I should have just invested the money.
Right. Hindsight is 20/20.
Maybe a mortgage wouldn't be so bad after all.
It could be a good thing for some people.
Yeah, but of course that's assuming
Right.
you can actually afford the monthly payments
Comfortably.
comfortably.
You don't want to be house poor,
Yeah.
where your entire budget is consumed by your mortgage.
You don't want to live paycheck to paycheck.
No, you want to still enjoy life.
Yeah, you want to be able to go out to dinner,
Travel.
go on vacation.
Do the things you love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not just about, can you get a mortgage?
It's about, is it the right fit?
Yeah.
For your life, for your goals.
It's got to align with your broader financial goals
Exactly.
and your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So after all this back and forth, are you ready to give us the final verdict?
Oh, man. I wish it was that easy.
Yeah.
Like, there's no magic formula.
Right.
It really depends on your individual situation.
Okay, so no easy answers.
No.
But for someone who's listening right now and actually trying to make this decision,
Yeah.
what are some key questions they should be asking themselves?
Okay, well, first things first, you got to look at your finances.
Okay,
What can you actually afford?
right. Not just the down payment.
Right. Got to think about closing costs, property taxes,
Yeah, all those hidden costs.
potential maintenance.
Yeah.
You know, things break.
Right. Life happens.
Yeah, so that FinShot spreadsheet, that can be a good starting point
Yeah.
to play around with different numbers.
Yeah, because even like small changes in those assumptions
Oh, yeah.
can make a big difference in the long run.
Absolutely. So then think about your lifestyle,
Okay.
your priorities. Do you value flexibility above all else?
Yeah.
Do you see yourself moving in the next few years for work or for fun?
Right. Or is putting down roots more important to you?
Yeah, stability.
And how much weight should someone give to the emotional side of things?
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
Some people really crave that feeling of ownership,
Yeah.
the pride of having their own space.
Yeah.
Others, the idea of a mortgage for like decades, that's
Yeah.
terrifying.
It can feel like a burden. So it's not just about the numbers. It's about what truly matters to you.
Yeah, what kind of life do you want?
Yeah.
And which path renting or buying gets you closer to that?
Okay, so the FinShots article, the spreadsheet, those are great resources.
They are.
But sometimes it helps to talk to like a real person,
Oh, for sure.
get a second opinion.
Someone who's not emotionally invested.
Right.
Yeah, so that's where a financial advisor can be super helpful.
Okay.
They can look at your whole picture,
Yeah.
help you understand different mortgage options,
Okay.
create a plan that makes sense for you.
So after all this, someone's still on the fence, totally unsure what to do.
Yeah.
What's your final piece of advice?
Well, I wouldn't say flip a coin,
Okay.
but I would say trust your gut.
Okay.
After you've done your research, you've crunched the numbers,
Yeah.
you've weighed the pros and cons,
Yeah.
What does your intuition tell you?
I love that because at the end of the day, it's not just a financial decision.
It's a life choice.
It is a life choice.
Yeah.
And as you're thinking all this through, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
What does home really mean to you?
That's a good question.
Is it a place?
Is it a feeling?
A sense of belonging?
Is it about the people you share it with?
Yeah. What is it?
Because the best decision is the one that brings you closer to that.
That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope it's given you some food for thought
Yeah.
as you navigate this big decision.
One of the biggest you'll ever make.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.